Well, welcome. You're on the ProBrick exclusive YouTube channel with Reverend Dr. Jason W. Morrison, theologist. I want to talk this morning about why relationships break down. And usually it can be boredom, it can be things that haven't been sorted out that should have been. It could be another person's gotten involved. It could be interferences, family interferences. It could be a friend has had things to say. It could just be evil. How evil works on human nature, which it does all the time. It could be any number of things, couldn't it? But one thing's for sure, breakups happen. Now, once you've had your breakup, depending on who's dumped who or who's split up with who, whatever the reasons are, putting all that aside for the moment, what happens after that? Well, a whole series of psychological and mental things take place after that, and some are favourable and some are not so favourable. Some parts of it we can get through relatively easy, other parts we can't. It's sort of like an injury, isn't it? It's a psychological injury where you've got to wait for your mind to heal. Now that can happen many different ways. Some people say it's easier just to go and meet somebody else and push on from there. I tried that in my younger years, and to some extent it worked, but it never really healed anything, which left me in a place of, now what do I do, sort of thing, because you go from one to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. One thing's for sure, it doesn't matter who you're in a relationship with, things are going to happen. But whether those things are fair or not is another thing. There is life leading up to the relationship, going through it and out the other side of it. There's always life. That's not usually the issue, whether life's going to go on or not, whether you're going to meet somebody else or not. The main thing about it is what you learn from it and how you heal. Now, some breakups are going to be characteristical. If you don't fix the characteristic problem behind the breakup, where you contributed to it, then the same thing's going to happen again, one way or another. The same thing will happen again. And that being the case, then you really have no right to go back out into the dating marketplace. You have to resolve these issues, or the issues resolve you. Sometimes it's circumstantial, where you just get put in a situation and you can't get on with the family members, or something stupid happens and there's grievances and all sorts of other stuff that you can't seem to be able to resolve. A number of reasons, or all different reasons. And that puts you in a place too. So unresolved's one of the big things in a relationship breakdown. I watched this thing last night about uncoupling. Uncoupling, that means trying to constructively just let the relationship run down. And the funny part about that, with my experience, is I tried everything I could to build the relationship up. But circumstances surrounding it, as much as what she was trying as well, I could tell she was trying. The circumstances surrounding it just weren't going to allow that to happen. It just wasn't lining up for us to be a constructive couple in terms of going forward successfully. I had some minor aggravations with her, and some situations that weren't being resolved, and there was confusion as to who was supposed to be resolving it. I don't think either of us could have, to be honest, because it wasn't either of us that had the problem. Funnily enough, isn't it? Funny. Neither of us had the problem, but we were the ones that suffered at the end of it. It's ridiculous. I've seen this before, where outside interference has just become so hostile and so persistent, one or the other just gives up. In this case, it was me. There was so much confusion surrounding what the true nature of the issue was, and to be honest, that's why I don't let people into my business, into my relationship. It seemed that her children were all over her business and stuff, and that was unfortunate because it wore me out. I didn't, I think there was an element as to whether I was going to go down there and try and bring a truce, or whether these people were going to try and bring a truce. But the fact of the matter was, by the end of it, I didn't want a truce, couldn't have cared less. I just wanted to have a two-person relationship. But unfortunately, these people were so intertwined in her life, that wasn't going to happen. She spoke a lot about codependency, and what I learnt from that was beware of people that bring up codependency, because she was actually codependent on her adult sons as much as they were on her. And this happened in my last marriage. An over codependency between the parents and the children, and again that sabotaged that marriage as well. That was the end of that. That didn't last. And so I find myself being attracted to these people that have these incredible relationships with their children, and they're not healthy. I do know that the former wife was financially supplying her children to some extent, and this one was definitely, this last girlfriend, she was definitely supplying her sons financially, or one way or another. Fix this. Yeah, so it all adds up, and it can all be strange, that's for sure. And you'll find yourself on the end of it. I guess the main lessons for me were, people will try. She kept trying, even though there was unresolved. She kept trying, but that didn't fix anything. Turning up just wasn't fixing anything. It was like turning up to a job and not having the bricks to lay, or there were just too many things missing from the relationship for it to work, and that's where resentments and grudges and all this other stuff comes in. And one way or another, people get tired and wear out. There's a lot of different factors as well for her to try and face the issue with the sons. It probably would have caused more conflict, and I asked for that not to happen because I knew she was a woman that all she was looking for was peace. They weren't going to let her have it in the relationship, and that wore at me as well. Like, you know, I knew when it all started that it was never going to work, but I wanted to show this woman some kind of sanity, and I'm not sure that there is such a thing these days once the immature get involved. She did try and cut them out, but I guess because she lived it with them, it was all just tribal, really. So after a breakup, you go through all the thinking of it, and I guess that's what this is. A lot of the themes of my videos have been that, discussing what happened, why it happened, what could have happened, and you've just got to keep moving forward. As you can see, I am now. I'm up and I'm doing my walk. An hour's walk around the town. I'll go back and we'll work on our business a bit up there at the truck, with the truck and the bricklaying business. But you never want to hurt people. You just, that's never the object, to hurt someone. I only went into that woman's life to bring good, and I don't think she herself felt bad. I just think she found herself in a situation where she was sandwiched, and it was going to be a matter of whether I could tolerate things or not, and unfortunately I couldn't at the end. So breakups can have legitimate reasons. Either way, people are going to get hurt because there's connections. The funny part about it is, you know, once the dust settles, you think people could talk, but then there's teachers that say don't talk anymore. I've always got on with the girls that I've dated. I guess sometimes you couldn't be bothered with them after it's broken down, but there's all different things that can happen. They've got to move on too and find somebody else, and that's in their best interest, I suppose, isn't it, to do that. So once you get past the ruminating and you're being positive and feeling positive, if you know what's actually happened and why it's happened, you'll find your way through it. You just got to let time work. I don't think it's, for me this time, I'm not forcing anything. Just like in that last relationship, I didn't try and force anything. I didn't want to force anything. That ain't going to help anyone. But once you've got interferers, that's what I've learned. If somebody allows people to interfere in their relationship, somebody is going to get hurt, and usually it's the relationship. So keep your relationship to yourselves. Don't allow interferers in, and don't try and find answers to things that are not really all that important. Could we have made it? I don't think so. I was pretty well worn out. I was trying to be a part of something. That was family orientated. But it wasn't to be, unfortunately. She never said anything when we broke up, except that it was my fault, I should have fixed it, which was very unfair, and what actually brought me to the point of saying, oh, I'm not doing this anymore, because that wasn't what she was portraying to me about what should have happened, and I found that a little bit unfair, to be honest. I don't know if she meant it at the time. I think she was quite shocked that I felt the way that I did. But that's something that I think is important to mention too. Self-awareness and how that can be lost, and awareness of your partner. Like, I was aware she was turning up and trying, but I was also aware that there was other stuff going on medically and recreationally that shouldn't have been as well, which was against the spirit really of what we were trying to accomplish, but in unison with the people that were causing the trouble. So I guess she tried to split herself and it didn't work out for her, and in the end the relationship loses. So I'll leave this talk at that with just a couple of points. Number one, keep yourself at the ready. Be aware of yourself. Be aware of how you're performing in your relationship and how you are trying to address things. Number two, do your exercise, mental and physical. Number three, be considerate. Number four, when you're going through your breakup, know that your mind is going to go over things for a month or so, maybe more. Just know that you are now in what's called a trauma bond. Your mind does have to find its way out of it, and it will. It'll take time. Number five, try and be straight. Try not to mix your mind up with chemicals and other things that are going to bring problems to your thinking, because everything comes back to your mind, and if your mind can get through things quick, you'll heal faster. Women apparently tend to heal faster than men. It's more of an initial impact on them. So if you're a man, I would advise that you try and heal as quickly as you can in terms of looking after your mind. Alcohol and drugs and everything, they're just band-aids that cover up the real hurt and pain. So you get through the hurt and pain quicker if you face them more clearly with your mind. I really hope this helps, guys. If your partner has disappeared and is not saying anything or not explaining that how they feel or anything, just move forward. They are what they are, and good luck in the future. This is Reverend Dr. Jason W. Morrison, theologist on the Pro Bricky exclusive YouTube channel. Bye for now.